Okay, so we're supposed to suppose that there's some angle theta is an angle in standard position. So the cool thing about Alex is that you can click it and they can tell you what standard position means. But standard position is where you talk about this as your initial side. Okay, meaning theta of 0 is just right here is where you would draw the angle. It doesn't move at all. Standard position for an angle theta would mean that you rotate it going counterclockwise, okay? So this could be maybe the angle, let's see, that's 180, 270. So that might be the angle 300 degrees, okay? That would be standard position for angle theta. Or you could have an angle that ends here, okay? So you draw a side length coming from the origin to where the angle terminates. This is called the terminal side. Okay, that might be, I don't know, maybe 120 degrees for theta. That's what they mean by standard position. Okay, the terminal side intersects the unit circle. And remember the unit circle, in case you need to refresh on that, unit circle is just a circle centered at the origin with a radius of 1. Okay, so it's got a radius of 1. That'll help us out here in just a second. Intersects the unit circle at 1/2, comma, square root of 3 over 2. So we know what 1/2 is, right? 1/2 is 0.5, so right here on the x-axis. And then square root of 3 over 2. You could use a calculator to simplify that. Square root of 3 divided by 2. So that's a number slightly less than 1, which it should be because it's on the unit circle. Okay. Here, let's draw the unit circle in a different color. Best I've got. Okay, so that's the unit circle. So if you're at 0.5 on the x and like 0. What do we got here? 0.866 on the y, you're a dot somewhere right around here, right? Okay, that's roughly 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so we don't know what this angle is. To start from this initial side, to cross through this dot, we could draw a line from the origin, right? And then this is supposed to be angle theta like I was drawing at the beginning. But we don't know what that angle is. We just know where it crosses. Supposed to find the exact values of cotangent, cosine, secant. I'll show you what cotangent and secant mean in just a second. But to find out what this angle is, we can express things in terms of a right triangle. Okay, so you can draw a dot for where the line intersects the unit circle, and then make a right angle with the x-axis. Because when you're talking about sine, cosine, tangent, that means you're talking about right angle trigonometry. Okay, so make that right angle, and we know some values on that triangle. This is 1/2 going across because our point said 1/2 on the x-axis. Let's try to color code this next one. And then square root of 3 over 2, that's the y-axis, right? So this part of the triangle going straight up and down is square root of 3 over 2. And now this missing part has got to be 1. And you could check that using the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. But we know it's 1 because it's the unit circle. The unit circle has a radius of 1. And it said the terminal side intersects the unit circle. So from here to here, it's got to be 1, the radius. Okay, we actually have everything we need to answer the question now. Okay, let me, just in case that's not clear, this 1/2 is this right here. So just a quick couple of definitions. We said sine before is the opposite side of the angle divided by the hypotenuse. So cosecant is kind of like the brother or sister of sine. Okay, cosecant is just the reciprocal of sine, the hypotenuse over the opposite. So likewise, cosine is adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. So secant is like adjacent's brother or sister, whatever you want to say. It's a hypotenuse divided by the adjacent. And then tangent is opposite over adjacent. So cotangent is the reciprocal, adjacent over opposite. All right, so we need that for this triangle. Now, cotangent of angle theta. If you look at the definition of cotangent, it should be the adjacent side divided by the opposite side. So what's opposite of angle theta, which is right here, this angle right here, okay? That's a bad drawing of theta. I should have made it bigger, but this is theta down here, okay? This angle that we're trying to measure. You actually don't even have to find theta to answer this question. They just want the ratio, okay? So cotangent would be the adjacent from this angle, which is 1/2, because the opposite is square root of 3 over 2, okay? So for this triangle, it's the adjacent we said was 1/2. And then look, it says divide, but since it's fractions, I'm going to write them out to the side like this. Divide the opposite, which is opposite of theta is square root of 3 over 2. Okay, and we know how to simplify fractions. You flip and multiply the second one. Okay, so that's going to give you 1 over square root of 3. But we don't usually like to have radicals in the bottom if we can avoid it. So multiply the top and the bottom by square root of 3. Okay, that's square root of 3 over 3 for cotangent. Okay, so cotangent took a bit of work. Cosine, hopefully, is a little easier. Cosine is the adjacent, which we said is 1/2. The adjacent of theta is 1/2, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 1. So 1/2 divided by 1 is just 1/2. And secant is the hypotenuse, which is 1, divided by the adjacent, which is 1/2. Okay, so how many times does 1/2 fit into 1? It's in 2 times. Okay, I think all the rest of the questions will be just like that one. Okay, yeah, the fractions are getting a little bit more complicated, bigger numbers, but same idea, okay? But you're welcome to let me know if you're stuck on the next one.